And we are back to another Boss Bus Between the Cheeks Bionicle Bonanza with the one and only Paul Brunetti.
All of these, yeah. Yeah, welcome back, Zack. How's your week been? How's everything going?
It's going good. Working a lot. Had the show at Boombox last
how'd
week.
that go?
It was fun. It was really good. It was a great turnout. Everybody kept, on stage, they would cut out a song and go, sheesh, and then put it back. It was perfect.
I don't get the sheesh thing. Where does that come from? What is that about?
There was a sneaker meetup video that was very weird comedy. I'll show you it after, but he pulls up and somebody just pulls out a pair of Vans and they're it was these are Yeezys, $800. And the dude's sheesh.
Wow. See, I don't get it. I don't like that one. I don't like that new trend. I'm becoming an old angry man in my overalls. I'm grumpy about it.
Hey,
I mean,
I haven't caught on with dead ass.
Dead ass is that a thing? I thought it was just. I don't know. That doesn't seem as much of a thing.
It's
as
a Zoomer
the
thing.
Sheesh.
True. Sheesh.
The sheesh, you have to say it a certain way. You have to bring it up.
You do.
Doesn't have an actual meaning.
Yeah. No, it's just sheesh.
Just a weird sound.
It is.
Yeah.
How you been?
Pretty good. Got done with the Ren Fair. Was very successful. I met a lot of new stickers. Had a lot of fun. Made a bunch of sticks and sold all of them. So, going to be starting to do some more stick hunts. So if any of you guys are interested, I do stick hunts where I take people out and teach them to make their own sticks. And stand them up, you can make it a one-on-one thing or an event. Get your friends together and hang out. So that's what I've been getting ready to go to coming up. But yeah.
It's awesome, dude.
Yeah, just keeping it real, playing the banjo, keeping the dog happy.
Good. I'm excited for D&D.
Oh yeah, it'll be fun.
With D, he's gonna be there.
Yeah, I talked to him. His character looks fun. He's gonna have
Bub.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A battle maid or a battlesmith is what it is. He's gonna have a little mechanical companion. It's gonna be cool.
Dude, that's sick.
Yeah.
I'm excited. Well, today we are here to talk about the continuation of the Bionicle saga.
Yes.
No guests, but good Bionicles.
Yeah,
Boys and Bionicles.
Yeah, like you said, every time there's not a guest, we're gonna do this because it's something to fill the time and keep our regular kind of meetings. Before we start, I do have a disclaimer. Last time I was unprepared and a little too drunk, so I did mess up a little bit. So we are going to kind of backtrack this episode starting off, but we should be getting through to the first movie by the end of this episode.
I'm excited.
So, Bionicle. Okay, so we start off, as we know, we have Motunui, which is the island that kind of the world that these Bionicles live in. It's also the name of their deity, god, kind of universe is Motunui. That's the Great Spirit. This island is inhabited by the Matoran, which are the six, which are the basically plebs of the world. They make up 6 tribes, all to each element, which is fire, water, air, ice, rock, and earth. And they have 6 leaders, one for each, which is the Turaga. The only Turaga that you really need to know is the Turaga of fire, Vakama, which is the fire kind of elder. And they kind of guide the Matoran. And now the Matoran just living peacefully on this island for 1,000 years, just hanging out. And then one day, everything on the island just wants to start killing them. So there's Rahi, which is the beasts, the animals of the island. And they kind of they came in packs of 2 where you could fight them with each other. They had these big kind of bug ones. They had these sea serpents.
Oh my god.
Yeah, these beasts. They're really cool, weird looking things. They almost didn't even look animalistic. But so really quick, all life in Bionicle is bionic. So it's half. So it's they have robotic exoskeletons, but have some organic organs and stuff inside. So
gotcha.
These beasts start going crazy, start attacking the villages, start killing them, and just holy shit, what's going on? And the Matoran go to the Turaga, and the Turaga are well, this is because of Makuta. And Makuta is the big bad of the Bionicle series. He is the evil dude. The Turaga say Makuta, who is Matunui's brother, is jealous of Motunui and put him in a great sleep so he could kind of overtake the world. And he is mad at you, the Matoran, because you are his chosen people, and so he has caused the beasts of the land to attack you and destroy you. But not to worry, the Toa will come to defend you and protect you. That is their duty. That is their destiny. Guys, right? Yeah, cool. That is the Toa. And wouldn't you know it, 6 canisters wash up onto the beach, and out of these canisters come the Toa, which are these guys. But they're all in pieces. They're not put together. They're all kind of falling apart. And they have to reassemble themselves. And Matoran known as... The only Matoran you need to know by name is Takua. Takua's kind of like the chronicler. He's kind of like the in-between between the Matorans and the Toa. He's kind of like the normal dude that's like, oh, he kind of chronicles everything down and watches it. He comes ashore and sees these guys falling apart, and they get put back together. And these are the 6 Toa. And I have 2 of them with me. I don't have all the sets because, again, it's hard to get the sets. It's expensive, but I have a couple. But yeah, you got Toa Tahu, which is the Toa of fire. He's like the leader of the group. His mask ability is shielding. You have Toa Lua, which is Toa of air. He can levitate and they also have elemental powers. Like they can control fire, control air.
Gotcha.
Pohatu, which is the rock dude who doesn't have a thing, but he can kick.
I love that.
Yeah, and he's his power is speed. You have the Toa of earth, Onua, which is super strength. Gali, which is the woman. All blue Bionicles are women. But no other Bionicles are women. And in the series, any important... There are females, but the only important females are blue. And if you are blue, you are a female if you're like a named character.
Yeah.
Actually, there's one other female, but we'll get to her in a while. But yeah, so there's the 6 that come out, and they fight back against these Rahi. And the Turaga, the leaders, are like, this is because of Makuta. You need to destroy Makuta. You need to defend us from Makuta. That's kind of your job as the Toa. But you aren't strong enough yet. Hidden around the island are 6 masks for each of you. Basically, each one of them needs to collect one of each of the other's masks and their color. So, like, there will be, like, a green one of this and a brown one of that. And it's going to collect. It's a collectathon because it is a toy series. And that was kind of the thing. And each of those masks grant them that special power. So they each have each other's powers that they can switch on and off. And so it's a kind of a collectathon, and they're all going their own ways. They're kind of not working together at this point. They're just hanging out doing their own thing. And they eventually collect all these powers, all these masks. That's not a Bionicle, but that's okay. They eventually collect all these masks and are able to unlock the center of Matanui, which is where Makuta is found. They go down there, and Makuta appears as like a shadow form of a Matoran, and he's just like trying to warn them and try to talk them out of fighting him. He's like, you don't need to fight me, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, fuck you, we're going to fight you. And so he transforms into this like shadow form, which is like this giant shadow twister. And they're fighting him, and they use the mass powers to be able to transform and like kind of do their own thing. They're able to defeat this shadow. And then he finally transforms into 6 shadow forms of them. So each one of them has their own shadow form that they have to fight against.
Shit.
And they're, like, as you would expect, even. Like, they're like, you can't beat us. We know everything you know. We're as good as you. And then the Toas are like, oh, shit. They're right. We can't beat them. We have to work together. And so they start fighting each other's things. Like, the fire goes against the water goes against the fire, stuff like that. And they're able to finally fight back.
That's cool.
And defeat their shadow forms. And Makuta's like, oh, I guess you beat me. Dang. And you never see him. His kind of voice just kind of around them echoes, and the ground shakes as he's talking. He's like, well, I guess you beat me. Good for you. You are the Toa. And they're like, fuck yeah, we are. And they kind of come out all like hoity-toity, just happy. And then when they come out, the Takua comes up and goes, guys, some shit's going down. And apparently that earthquake that was going on when they were fighting Makuta awoke the Borak, which are these guys. So that was the first and second that kind of combined. But the Borak are these guys, the pillbug kind of guys. They're hive minds. They're completely mechanical except for in their mask. They have these little krana, which are kind of like masks. They also have powers. Like some of them have super strength. Some have strength, can levitate for a little bit. Like they're not as powerful as the Kanohi masks, but they have some power that they're able to fight back. But like the main power of the Borak is their numbers. There's just thousands of them in swarms that are just attacking the island, just kind of destroying everything in their path, just wiping the map. And the Toa are like, oh shit, we got to fight them back, and they all kind of go their separate ways. But the thing about the Borak is they don't attack like other living things, like other Bionicles, unless they're attacked first. They're very mission focused because they don't have their own consciousness. They're just kind of just hive mind. But Lua, who is kind of like just like very instinct forward, just does what he does, just runs in and starts attacking them, and he gets surrounded and attacked and loses his mask, and they actually get a krana on his face instead, which looks like this. And so he gets like a little...
Oh my god.
He becomes part of the hive, and gets
Damn.
assimilated. He starts fighting back against his other Toa, and Anua, the Toa of stone, the black guy with the big claws. I love him. He fights Lua, and at first he's getting his ass kicked because he doesn't want to fight his friend. And he's like, shit. But eventually Lua is able to slow his own movements because he still has part of his consciousness, even though he's kind of overcome by this thing, and is able to get the Krana removed. And but because of this, he was able to tap into the hive of the Boroks. He was able to see like what was going on. He's like, dude, they're going to destroy the whole island. Like that's their goal, is to wipe the island off the face of the earth. Like they want to destroy Motunui. And they all and they didn't know where they were coming from. And she's like, I know where their hive is. I know that there's 2 fucking queens down there, and we gotta fuck them up. But he doesn't know where the hive is. Actually, he knows he knows where the hive is. Sorry, but he doesn't. He knows in order to open it, they have to get one of every one of the Krana, which are the little mass things, to unlock it. So another fetch quest begins where they kind of fight together, and they're able to get the 8 Krana out of the 6 different swarms. And they get to the hole, they open it up, and they go down this tunnel. And in this tunnel, they find these, like, kind of mecha suits. Like, it's like, think of, like kind of Iron Man. They have, like, these mecha suits that they can get in. And these were, I never had this as a kid, but you could put your Bionicles in them, and it's just a giant suit. And it made them super strong, super powerful, but they didn't have their elemental abilities. But they were super powerful. So they jump down there, and they find these 2 Borok queens, which are, like, the leaders of the Borogs. They're actually sentient, and they're talking to the Toa, and they're like, welcome, servants of Motunui, or fellow servants. Like, they were always talking as if they were like colleagues. Like, they were like, what's up? And they're like, we need you to fucking stop this. Like, no, this is our job. This is what Motunui wants us to do. It's like, no, you're fucking killing everybody, and you're destroying the island. And they're like, well, fuck you. And they get in this big fight, and because they're in their mecha suits, so the Borog queens have superpowers. Like, they're able to do all of the powers that the Borogs have, so like super strength, levitate, a bunch of stuff like that, and have like strategic brains, and also together they have like super shielding like abilities. So they're able to fight, but with these like super suits, the Toa are able to like fight them down, but like it's kind of they're dead even, like no one's pushing, and they realize that like without their elemental abilities they're not gonna be able to win. Like it's too evenly matched for them to be able to beat these queens. So they ditch the suits and they jump out, and they all shoot their elemental powers together, kind of like cross the streams, like in Ghostbusters. Yeah. And they create what's called, I always forget this, I wrote it down, Proto-Dermis, which is basically when all 6 Toa connect their powers, they create this Proto-Dermis, which is like this energy kind of thing. But this is like energy Proto-Dermis, and there's multiple types, but we'll get into that. And they shoot this energy Proto-Dermis that forms this kind of barrier around the Borog queens and basically puts them into stasis. They're unable to move, they kind of shut down, but they're not dead, they're just contained. Yeah. And they kind of create this shield, and they're like, fuck yeah. And then the ground falls out underneath them as these things get contained, and they fall into these vats of Proto-Derma, which transform them into the Toa Nuva. And I only have one of the Toa Nuva, which is Kopaka. And it gives them some, like, they all have, like, silver armor now. They have silver equipment.
So sick.
Their masks are a little more form-fitting, less, like, jagged, which I kind of like the original mask more. They also have these cool abilities now where they can take their weapons off and use them as, like, skis and stuff. Like,
what the fuck?
Yeah, like, Gali can make it into flippers. Tahu can turn it into, like a lava surfboard, so he like surfs on lava. Kopaka gets these skis where he can like.
That's sick.
Yeah, so they just basically get transformed. They're way more powerful, have stronger abilities and all that, and they're just like, oh yeah, we're kicking ass now. But yeah, so they can ski now. So they're able to, once they unite and connect their powers to defeat the Balrag, which are the Borok queens. The actual Borok themselves shut down. Their Kranas are kind of removed, and so they're basically just automatons at this point that the Matoran use as kind of like robot slaves, but they're unconscious beings that they just kind of use to like rebuild, repair what they destroyed, and just be like workers for the Matoran. And after that, things are cool. Like all the all the Toe are like, fuck yeah, we're all super powerful now. We don't need each other. Let's go hang out. And they go off, do their own thing. They go to their separate villages. They help out a little bit. Usually, really, they're just kind of kicking it. Cause like we defeated fucking Makuta.
Like we did the shit.
We fucking defeated the Bullrock and the Balrag queens. Like we're the best.
Yeah.
And then one day, you got Kopaka, who's just like using his ice powers to make like a ramp while he's like skiing down at like off the top of this mountain.
Of course.
Then suddenly, cut back. So they go back to the villages and they see the shrines that were built to them. And instead of having the mask that's always on them, the mask is gone, and in place is this cube, or is this kind of symbol, and they're called the Nuva symbols. And I'm like, that's kind of weird. And but they're like, whatever. And all the Matoran around her are like, yeah, these are symbols that represent your powers to us and like connect us to you. And I'm like, cool. Like they kind of look down on the Matoran. The Matoran is like, way to go, gods! Like they're basically their deities because they're saving their lives on a daily basis.
Yeah.
But yeah, so. After a while, they're just hanging out, and they're kind of like separate again. Like now, they're like way more powerful than they were before, and with the Nuva powers, they are able to share abilities. So like earlier, they had to switch their masks out in order to have like the other abilities, like to fly or to breathe underwater or to have super strength.
Yeah.
But now, all they have to be is in like the vicinity of the others, and they have those powers.
Holy shit!
So like right now, they're just like hoity-toity, super full of themselves. And then, so yeah, the next arc starts with Kopaka just kind of skating down a mountain, hanging out, and using his ice powers, and then suddenly, his ice powers are gone. And he just skates and falls, and like is falling down this ravine, is only able to save himself by putting his swords together and like stopping himself falling down the mountain, like comes to his halt, and they're just like, holy shit. And the rest of them realize that they don't have their powers either. And like, where did their fucking elemental powers go?
Oh no.
And they go back to the villages trying to figure this out, and the Matoran who are in charge of like watching the those symbols or keeping in charge of these statues of the Toa were like, dudes, we just got fucking wrecked. Like some of them got killed, like a bunch of Matoran were murdered, and they didn't even see who beat the shit out of them.
God.
But all those those Nuva symbols are gone, and they're like, what the fuck? And they kind of realize like, our powers are connected to these things because now we don't have our elemental powers, and they're just trying to figure out what's going on. And they meet up with the Borak Calls. The Borak Calls, there's 6 of them. They look very similar to the Boraks, just kind of a palette swap, which I kind of pissed off about. Like get a lot of hate because they're literally just like skins of the Borak. Like they're the exact same, just like with silver instead. And I think they're cool. Like their weapons are cool, but they're kind of lame. But their powers are fucking insane. So like these calls come down. I actually wrote the powers down because I always forget all 6 of them. But yeah, basically these 6 calls come up and say, we are basically a failsafe. Like we are the Borak calls. We are a failsafe that if the Boraks are unable to achieve their mission, we are activated. We are basically separate from them in order to be like, if they are destroyed, we're here to like continue the mission. They're like, we are here to awaken the queens again and destroy Makunui. And the Toa are like, fuck yeah, you are the Toa. They're like, fuck you, like, nah, we'll fucking do this.
Yeah.
But no, like the Borak Calls powers are fucking insane. Like they have the power of gravity. They have the power of magnetism. They have the power of vacuum, so you can just like suck things up or like halt you in your place. They have the powers of plasma that just shoot like blazing plasma, or like sound where you can just vibrate things around you, like, and magnetism. So they just wipe the floor with the Toa.
That's insane.
And they just get fucking wrecked. And also the Toa don't have their elemental powers, so they can't use any of that either. And so they just get fucked. And then the calls go on their way. But the calls, since they were separate from the Borak, do not know where the tunnel is.
Oh.
And so they're going around looking for the tunnel. And the Toa are like, what are we going to fucking do? And they try to do ambushes. They try to like do all these really cool ways to like stop them. But no, their power, like those powers are OP. Like you have the power of gravity. You have the power of fucking vacuum and magnetism. Especially in a biomechanical world, like that's insane.
Yeah.
And it was just like, they were so cocky and they just got fucking wiped. And the calls eventually find their way to the tunnel. and break their way down into the tunnel. And the Toa's like, holy shit, they're gonna reawaken the queens, because when they get down into the before the Borak or the Khals found it, the Toa went down into the tunnel to kind of like reinforce it and found where the queens were around this Nuva cube, and then each side had like the symbol that was each one of theirs from the Nuva symbols, and they're like, oh shit, if they use those, they're gonna activate and reawaken the queens, and fucking Borak are gonna wipe the place again. And so they're following the Khals down there. Khals find their way into the tunnel, and they're just like still fighting them, but again, don't have a shit in the world.
Yeah.
And they're about to awaken the queens when Toa Tahu, the Toa, fires like, fuck it, guys, this is my last chance. Like, Turaga Vakama, which is the fire sage, he gave me this mask. He said only use in emergencies, and he just kind of switches his mask out, and he has the Toa, what is it called? I always forget this one. Toa Vahi, which is the Kanohi Vahi, which is the mask of time. It's like a half mask that doesn't cover the top, so it almost looks like if you take one of the masks and turn it like upside down, so you see his face. And he has like this almost like beard-looking thing.
That's cool.
And he uses this to activate it and just stops time for the Boraks. But so the things with like these super powerful masks, like every one of the masks, they have like a stipulation or a huge like asterisk next to him. Like with Toa Tahu, he has the power of shield, but he can't defend against sneak attacks. Like he has to see the attack coming in order to shield it. The fucking time mask is very risky, like last ditch thing, because you could rip a hole in time space, like fuck everything up. Like if you don't completely focus it, you're gonna fucking die, and everything else is gonna die with it. And so he's just like, this is it. Like if we don't stop them now, we're done. And so he causes this kind of stoppage of the Borak because they're slowly about to put the keys or the symbols into the cube, but they're still going like very slowly. But they're just going, and Toa's out of commission. He's out of commission, and the rest of them are like, fuck, what are we gonna do?
Yeah.
And Gali's like, I got an idea. She's like, those symbols are connected to our elemental powers, right? She's like, so we can activate them, like we can use them. And so she gets her and the rest of them to activate, to use their to like basically charge up the symbols with power. So they each kind of like just charge up, and just like these symbols just become super powerful. And because the Borak Khals are holding them, they feel this and kind of get absorbed in this energy, and they just kind of get super cocky because they're just as cocky as the fucking Toas, but they just have the power to back it up. And they turn around like, oh, let's fucking do this. They're like, yeah, they're just fully fucking charged, and they just proceed to rip themselves apart. Like the Toa of magnetism just like raises his arms, and just all the metal within the island just comes and just crushes him into a pile. The Toa of sound just starts making this noise that vibrates him into dust. The Toa of gravity, Toa of vacuum just shoots himself up into fucking space and is never seen again. He's still floating up into space. The plasma guy just melts himself. They basically just were like, fuck it, let's go, and just like destroy themselves with their own power because they're just too powerful. And the Toa is just like, holy shit. And they barely survive it, but they won just like on a hair. Like they barely won that fight. Like they're about to lose. They had no chance against them. They only got lucky because they were as fucking cocky as them.
True.
And so like the first couple parts of Bionicle are about the duty and unity. So like the first part is them kind of thinking they can do it on their own, and then realizing they need the unity to defeat the Borak queens or to like come together. And also the duty they have to the world and like to the Matoran and like all that stuff. That's kind of the duty and unity. And that's kind of gets us up to the movie. Because after that is kind of when the movie starts, and that's the destiny of it all, which is the Mask of Light, and it's pretty good. And so if you guys like that, good job. If you have any questions, let me know.
Comment.
Also, we're thinking about the next one. We could either just do it like we did now, or we could do a watch along with the movie.
I think that would be so much fun.
And if you guys have a preference, you can let us know. But that was probably something we're thinking is we could do a watch along because it's on YouTube, so anyone can get it for free. So we could just say start it now, and then just start the YouTube on the other page and just watch along, so we can like comment as it's going.
Yeah, I like that.
Fun. But yeah, that's Bionicle first 3 arcs
Amazing.
in a nutshell.
That is
there was
sick.
some other little stuff going on, but that was the basic story and the basic stuff going on. It was fun.
That was great.
Yeah.
I, for one, am looking forward to more of these. Because
Yeah.
this is, like, so entertaining. Like, holy shit. That's
It's
crazy that they just
I mean,
destroyed
yeah,
themselves.
like I said, I messed up last time. I basically melded the first and second parts together. But I had to I reread some of the comics, and I wasn't drunk, and I had time to prepare. But yeah, it's a good story. The first part's very basic, and they have a lot of like ex machina kind of things. But like the movie onward, it starts getting like deep, and they start introducing this lore. Because like the first ones, they were kind of riding the high of like Lego wanted to get into the like storytelling like action figures that was big in like the early 2000s, and they had just gotten Star Wars, like, and that just gave them a bunch of money, so they used that to kind of put into Bionicle, which then eventually also saved them from bankruptcy. But that's another story. But yeah,
Wow.
it's cool.
I'm excited. That's incredible. Well, thank you again for joining us. Hope you liked it. Yeah, comment down below what you would like us to do, whether watch along or us describe it.
Or if you have any questions.
If you have any questions, let Paul know. Otherwise, thank you, Paul, for joining.
Of course.
And we will see you guys next week with a very fun episode.
Yeah.
So,
Keep it real.
peace out.